Jewish museum shooting suspect pleads not guilty. The Justice Department officials are reviewing whether to seek the death penalty for the suspected shooter. Tyrone Bowman live. According to an article written for the Washington Post by Salvador Rizzo, let's get right down to the essence of this story. A Chicago man accused of fatally shooting a young couple at the Capitol Jewish Museum pleaded not guilty to hate crime and murder charges Thursday, as the Justice Department officials continue to assess whether they will seek the death penalty if he is convicted. A 9-count indictment unsealed last month says the suspect, Elias Rodriguez, called out, quote, "Free Palestine," end quote, as he fired a handgun approximately 20 times at the victim, Yorkin Lashinsky, who was 30, and Sarah Lynn Milgram, 26, who were exiting a reception hosted by the American Jewish Committee on May 21st at the museum near the corner of 3rd and F Streets, Northwest. The victims were engaged and worked at the Israeli embassy in Washington. In a court filing, U.S. officials said Rodriguez followed Milgram as she tried to crawl away, reloaded his gun, and kept shooting as she tried to sit up. Moments later, he entered the museum and displayed a red kahifi while saying, quote, "I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza," end quote, according to the indictment. At a hearing Tuesday in U.S. District Court in Washington, a court clerk read a summary of the charges and said Rodriguez faced a potential sentence of death as he stood at the lectern next to one of his attorneys. Wearing orange prison fatigues, Rodriguez told Judge Randolph DeMoss that he had read the indictment and was satisfied with the team of 3 public defenders and a private attorney that the court assigned to represent him. A public defender, Elizabeth Mulligan, entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. The judge ordered attorneys in the case to file a status report due by December 5th. The indictment states the death penalty statute in a section that alleges Rodriguez killed Milgram in an especially heinous, cruel, and depraved manner. Janine Pereiro, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, said at a news conference last month that the Justice Department had begun an internal review to decide whether to seek the death penalty, a decision that Pereiro said ultimately rests with Attorney General Pam Bondi. Well, I'm going to go on record and say that the death penalty is going to be sought. The death penalty is going to be sought, and that is not an option. That is going to be a mandatory requirement as this trial proceeds forward. This brutal anti-Semitic violence has no place in our country or anywhere in civilization, Bondi said in a statement after the shooting. We will follow the facts and secure the most severe possible punishment for the perpetrator of this heinous crime, which robbed 2 wonderful young people of a bright future together. Attorneys for Rodriguez said in a court filing that the legal theories raised in the indictment are complex and not unusual. Prosecutor Christopher Torres said the government had shared more than 5 million pages of legal discovery with the defense as of Thursday. The shooting was captured on surveillance video, according to court filings. Yo, dude, you're done. Rodriguez, you are finished. I don't even know why he's going to trial. Because what he did was heinous. It was deplorable and despicable. It was a public execution. That's what he did. The D.C. Council abolished capital punishment in 1981, and the city residents, by a large margin, rejected a referendum to restore it in 1992. But prosecutors are allowed to seek the death penalty in certain federal cases, including hate crimes resulting in death, with which Rodriguez was charged. President Donald Trump said last month he would like to see the death penalty imposed in every murder conviction in D.C., though prosecutors had already said before those comments that they're reviewing whether Rodriguez should face capital punishment. The last time prosecutors sought the death penalty under federal law in D.C. was in 2003. In the case of the two most violent convicted killers in the city's history, one of them was found guilty of ordering or carrying out 19 murders, but the jury deadlocked, and the 8-month trial ended with life sentences. Rodriguez was interviewed by police detectives at the scene of the shooting, waived his right to remain silent, and expressed admiration for an Air Force airman who set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy last year to protect the Israeli-Gaza war. According to an FBI affidavit, the indictment says Rodriguez had criticized Israel on social media and written a document titled, quote, Explication, end quote, blaming Israelis for atrocities in the Gaza Strip. According to investigators, he flew from Chicago with a 9mm handgun in his luggage and brought a ticket online to the reception at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Well, didn't he have to go through the metal detectors before he got on the plane coming from Chicago? Didn't they scan everything? Why didn't they arrest him right then and there? Why? You know, those of us who are involved in things where we have to go through scanners every single day, we have to, my God, we have to go through a lengthy process just to get into where we're going to. They should have caught this from the rip, quote unquote. And he should have never been able to get on the plane and get off the plane with these weapons on him being undetected. Some of this stuff is tight, but it's right. And you know it is. The indictment charges Rodriguez with hate crimes resulting in death, firearm offenses, first-degree murder, armed assault with intent to kill, and murder of a foreign official, and the death of Lachinsky, who was an Israeli citizen. Never surrender. Never quit.